Welcome back to Turks and Jerks. We just wrapped up our Turks segment. I forgot to mention that the Cubbies were the real Turks because we got to hear it Go Cubs Go at Wrigley Field for the first time in, I don't know, the song wasn't even written in 1945. It was the first time Go Cubs Go, the Steve Goodman song, was played at Wrigley. So they play after every win in a World Series, the first time they played in a World Series. What an atmosphere that was. Aroldis Chapman, although not a good person off the field, was phenomenal on the field, so at least worth noting. All right, to the actual jerks, the guys who deserve to be called out in Week 8 of the NFL. J.R. Jackson, right into it. I know you have a good one this year, this week.
Well, this is the thing. I have a, I don't know, this isn't a realistic request, but maybe it should, there should be something changed about the way we call interceptions in the league. And we talked about this before off air, but I had a different kind of solution. Many quarterbacks throw perfectly fine passes. Maybe they're slightly off, maybe they're slightly high, but if they hit someone in the hands, there's the old rule, if it hits you in the hands, you catch it. But if it hits you in the hands and you tip it up in the air and you turn to a tip drill, which is what defenses do, that's the thing they like. Defense likes the ball tapped up in the air because that makes an easy pick. So specifically in the Chargers game, this happened when Phillip Rivers threw a quick slant pass to Tyrell Williams. Tyrell Williams decided to knock the ball straight up in the air, and Bradley Roby picked it off, returned it, pick six. They lost by 8 points. That's a one-score game. It's things like this that change games. So Phillip Rivers had, what, 3 interceptions on the day, and that one for a touchdown. I would argue that he had two picks, and Tyrell Williams had one. But if you tip the ball in the air and you're supposed to catch it, we can analyze what you're supposed to catch and what you're not supposed to catch. And as an error, should be charged to certain wide receivers, and it should be a stat. Quarterbacks have a certain amount of interceptions they've had on the year. There's a certain amount of drops that should be registered.
Yeah, that's a big one for receivers. Like they should.
You have incomplete passes.
They never show it. Like for example, I don't think Larry Fitzgerald's ever dropped a pass. I mean, obviously he must have at some point in his career, but it is rare. Yeah. It is very rare that man drops a pass, and it's just a testament to him. But to your point, this is a double-edged sword, JR, because on one edge of this sword, you are very, well, it's not really, there's 2 points to make, but it could be double-edged, I guess.
2 bad points.
To one of it, to one good point, one maybe not good point, but to part of it is I consider this like a half interception. Or if you want to give it to the defense and give it to the defense, but, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady's of the world, who's back, by the way, and even Carson Palmer's, and in this case, Phillip Rivers. When that ball, if you put it on the numbers, you put it on the hands. What the quarterback on my high school football team always said, and I did not play football in high school, but I'm good friends with him. He always said when he would miss a pass, he was a cocky guy, and he'd just go, "Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to put on the numbers for you?" "I'm sorry. Was the numbers not okay? Where were you, like shoulder, back shoulder? Okay, next time back shoulder." If it gets tipped in the air like that, or it hits them in the hands and they just drop it and they kick it 15 feet, it's a half interception. It probably shouldn't even be considered a half interception for the quarterback, but that way at least you're looking at it in a little different way. Now, of course, when it gets rounded up to a whole number, it might just seem like Phillip Rivers had 12 interceptions. But if you look at the different one, how many half interceptions did he have that season? Maybe 5 or 6. The other side of this is if you were to include this as a rule, people like Tom Brady, who's back, would never have an interception ever.
I'm not trying to bash and bring down wide receivers. That's a tough job.
Oh, yeah.
Those balls
over the middle. Over the middle is a tough job. To me, if you have the separation, you drop a pass, there's still no excuse for it.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to catch it. That's what your job is. And if you don't, fine, whatever. Just like, again, quarterbacks, their job is to complete passes. They'll throw wild passes sometimes. Even if they're getting hit and the ball flings in the air, that's still a pick. So they're getting charged things. So let's charge it where
that's fair.
The fail happens.
We can start that. I think they need to add that. I think they need to start showing how many drop passes receivers have because they always show the stats: 12 receptions on 10 targets on 130 yards. But what happened with those other 2 targets? Was it on Phillip Rivers for overthrowing him, underthrowing him, or was it on the receiver himself for just it hitting him in the chest? And what's funny, too, is that when you see it happen, you know what I see more than anything else, and they're not receivers, that's why defensive backs, but a lot of defensive backs played both sides of the ball in high school. Some of them returned from receivers to defensive backs were safeties. Even tailbacks, the ones where they throw, it's right at them, and they drop and they go to the ground. I can't believe I missed that. It's to me, there, too, you should be. Eli throws them all the time.
You've heard, you've heard those. There's an old line: cornerbacks and D-backs are just receivers they couldn't catch.
Is that true? Is that what they say?
That's what
That's
people
not
say.
right because I consider.
Because if you were in high school, you're in your budding years and you're everyone wants to score touchdowns, right? So you want to play offense, and if you're a guy who plays the ends, you play wide out.
Right.
They're like, oh, the kid can't catch, but we got to convert him to corner because he knows the position, he knows how to guard the position he plays. So that's naturally your defensive position.
I'm curious why teams, I know there's a risk in it because of injury and you don't want to play both sides of the ball, but like J.J. Watt plays both sides of the ball sometimes. He's that much of a weapon. Why wouldn't they line up just one day, just Julio Jones on like A.J. Green? They had a matchup, the Falcons and the Bengals. Like he's got the height, they both, and the hands team.
Again,
If you think you're seeing a route where they're going to throw it downfield, put Julio Jones in his defensive
I hate
back.
to keep referencing this guy, but Bill Belichick did that a few years ago.
With who?
It was in like in a
With
playoff
Randy
game
Moss?
too. No, he put it was the shorter wideout. Jeez, I'm blanking. on his
Edelman,
name.
Amendola.
No, he was the
Wes
it was
Welker?
before that, even before them. Jeez, I forget his name. It was
Trying to think of. I'm running out of guys. Deion
think he
Branch, Troy Brown.
I think it was Deion Branch.
Troy Brown,
I
Deion
think
Branch.
it was one of those two. It was
Okay.
Deion Branch or Troy Brown that
trying to
he
remember.
put on defense to cover a slant pattern and stuff like that, and he was great. He played a couple plays, but it was inventive. It was a different way to do it, and it worked out because he knows how to guard that position.
Smart. I mean, it's smart. Like, by the way, speaking of the Patriots, they traded Jamie Collins for third-round picks for the Cleveland Browns. Like this morning, we were saying, dude, what do you say? He'll be out of the league in 6 months? Like, what do they know?
There's something that Belichick
He's
knows
like a
about.
big.
about
It's a
him.
quiet, big
something
mid-season
going on
trade. Like Pro Football Talk has to be talking about this. I want to know what's going on. All right, on to Josh Norman, who a lot of people know on this platform I criticize a lot. Not just because of the money. I think all players should make their money. I don't care. If player gets paid, whatever. If they said that Josh Norman signed a $1 billion contract, I go, good for Josh Norman.
Changed my life.
I'd rather have it in Josh Norman's pocket than have it in Dan Snyder's pocket, obviously. In Josh Norman's case, though, he, quote, blasted the officials after calls made in the Redskins tie with the Bengals. So it was 27-27 game, another tie. Ties are fun. You know, we just should have tiebreakers. We were talking about this in the first half of Turks. There's many different ways. I'm curious what you guys think. Leave your tiebreakers in the comment section below. Regardless, here's what he had to say because he had 5 calls against him. I think 7 total calls against him. 5 were accepted, including a bad pass interference on A.J. Green. But I do understand to a certain extent when you have an A.J. Green as your assignment, sometimes you got to pull the guy's arm down to prevent like an 80-yard completion. Or if you slip up and you're going to give him a touchdown, occasionally it's the right play. Occasionally, not on 4th and goal, you don't do it. But if it's a 1st and goal and there's a wide open shot at him getting end zone, sometimes get another chance. Sometimes that extra down. If you just take him, throw his arm down. I've seen good defensive pass interference. It's a rare thing, and in that case, it might have been. But and what's his name for the? Is it Jay Gruden's the coach of the Redskins? It's not John. Jay Gruden's his brother, not his kid. Son. They look so much alike too. He could be a Turk in a way just because he finally lined up Josh Norman against the best receiver on the other team for a lot of the plays, and that was A.J. Green. However, the refs were picking on him. I give him that. But however, he did commit a lot of penalties. And this is a guy who just said last week he has to step his game up. He needs to start playing better. He has not been a shutdown corner, which is what he wasn't signed for. He wasn't in that defense when he played in Carolina. His skill set on the Redskins' defensive plan is not as good as the Panthers had him last year. Where he would be good, and I know this sounds a little bit out there, is like the Seahawks or the Cardinals, because if you put him alongside other very good cornerbacks, he can blend in and be a bigger difference maker, bigger playmaker. To me, if you put him around the cornerbacks in the Redskins case, the Pigskins case, I should say, it's as the number one standout guy, he's not as good. I think D'Angelo Hall had the same problem at the beginning of his career with Atlanta, and as they got some better secondary pieces throughout his career, he became a better cornerback. So he said after the game, just his quotes, which I found interesting, he said, let the guy push on. He said, quote, let the guy push off on me, but let me not touch him. And the flag at the end of the game where Pierre caught a slant route in 5 yards, got separation for the defensive back. We were in field goal range, flag, coming back. So it was the first offensive pass interference call we had all game. I need to know because I don't think Cincinnati had one of them at all. And if you've now seen the game, it was a lot going on. Again, I'm not on them. I just play the game, play it physically. That's how we do it. All up in your face, hands on you. The difference, though, between Josh Norman and Pierre Garçon, Josh Norman shouldn't be mad at Pierre Garçon. I know he was ranting because he was mad at the refs.
I didn't know I didn't take it as him being mad at him. He was, okay.
Right, so he was mad at the refs because he said, who's number 88? I got to know. I just got to know. Who's official 88? Gripping both sides of the podium. He sucked. I just got to be honest with you. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to be straightforward. He was terrible. I feel like he should be reprimanded. Should refs be held accountable? Of course, but not from Josh Norman. So this is the difference, though, between Josh Norman, who has the right to be mad because he got penalized a lot, and then it just started the tangent, because when you start going on rants, you start
Absolutely
bringing up things that don't have anything to do with you, right? This is what Pierre Garçon had to say. I can't talk about the call. Just got to play football. Should have never have had it, but he called it. Got to move on to the next play. Garçon did say that he never expected that he would have drawn a flag because he didn't feel as if he had pushed off on the defender. Quote, not when you get jammed, but the referee made the call. I just kept playing football.
Let's see, this is the thing. That doesn't say what Pierre Garçon felt. That just said that Pierre Garçon has been probably has been fined before in his career, and he knows, he's like, I know what I want to say, and I don't want to say it and get fined.
Here's the thing.
I'm gonna let Josh get that.
Right, and there was a Redskins team official that came in, not a referee, a Redskins team official came in and was like, Josh, we're just going to cut this press conference. So he's probably going to get fined because the NFL will fine you for anything. I mean, if you walk on the sideline 3 minutes before you're supposed to be for opening ceremonies.
If you have a sock that's 3/4 length and one that's half.
It's fine if you wear cleats. Players now wear specific cleats for fashion purposes, or as a statement purposes in the beginning of the game during warm-ups where you're allowed to, but they have to change them for the game. So the political statement cleats they make, they'll do it here's Odell Beckham Jr.'s crazy Halloween cleats, or that's not a political statement, but Cam Newton I know has done something about it. And then they go into the game and they have to change. They're very boring. We are all the same. We are all robots for you.
You wear pink. Yesterday and today and tonight's game.
Can't wear pink
last
tomorrow.
Games you can wear pink.
Can't wear pink. I hope there's a team that's introduced to the NFL that has a pink uniform. Just could be so many good names.
Can I have this? Will be separate. We can end jerks, but a few notes about this week that stood out to me. Andre Johnson has announced his retirement. 14
years, correct?
As well as Arian Foster, after 8 seasons, announced his retirement.
But that could have happened 4 years ago.
Absolutely. As soon as I heard about Andre Johnson, I had already heard about Arian. I was like, oh, these are ex-Texans, both of them, and kind of abruptly ended their careers in the middle of this season. So what's going on?
J.J. Watt is next.
What happened? Well, you have to be away from the Texans first.
Did Derek's brother retire? Yeah, David. David Carr retire yet?
Oh yeah, he did start in Houston, didn't
he?
Yeah.
So that was the expansion.
Yeah, it's true.
He was fine.
He was the face of the expansion.
And they said we're going to get a quarterback instead of an offensive line, and that's why Arian Foster and David Carr don't play football anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it also stands out to me that Arian Foster, it was only 8 seasons in. I feel like he's been around forever. But 8 seasons, I guess, it's really long for a running back in the NFL.
Yes.
So especially the workhorse kind of running back that he was.
Yes.
So man, it continues to highlight how brutal of a sport this is. You know?
Look up the average the average career of an NFL athlete is about a year. If you take into account all the guys that played 20 and mix those in with all the guys that played 4 weeks before their injuries took them out. I mean, we have Drew Carter on regularly.
Yeah.
Drew played 4 seasons, and 2 of those he was battered. Ohio State, he got a little bit battered too. It's just if you make it to the...
He's a retired NFL player, and you look at him and be like, this is a young guy.
27, 28 years old. It's my age, a little bit older. All right, comment below. Happy retirement, happy trails.
And number 2, the Rams did not lose this week. We're going
12-4? 12-4, Super Bowl champions?
Absolutely.
I heard a great
radio. We didn't lose this week.
Jeff
Fisher.
There was a radio segment this morning that said, I'm going to be... this is CBS Sports Radio. I think it was the Mike and Mike show. There's a caller who came in, and he's like, I got to be honest. I don't know if the Rams are couldn't be in a better situation. The Seahawks look vulnerable. The Cardinals look and we got the Rams. There you go.
They've already beat the Seahawks.
That's the thing. They could beat those teams. So, I mean, I thought it was a little bit out there because of their record and the Seahawks, how they look, and if they get an offense. And the Cardinals, who the F knows, they're going to be 9-7 and the biggest wild card in the playoffs if they make the playoffs.
Right. Because
that means the Rams probably 12-4 Super Bowl champions. I'm on your side, JR. Comment below.
Brady's back.
Brady's back.